Hi, Tim. I just finished watching your video for the second time. It's a lot to digest there, and it's kind of I don't want to say all over the place. I get where you're going, but you spend so much time backtracking and trying to cover yourself and apologize and be nice. And there's nothing wrong with being nice. That you sort of have to listen between the apologies and the explanations to what you're saying. But um, I'm not sure how old you are. I'm 52, and there's a language that's used today that wasn't used when I was young, and that I don't think I'm ever going to be comfortable with. Things like safe space. Um, when I get together with my friends, whether it's gaming or anything else, we're hanging out. I mean, it's not a safe space to me. It's just hanging out with my friends. And that's what you do. That's what I've done since I was 5. I've gotten together with my friends, and my friends have tended to be guys. And it's just what it is. Um, as to the dynamics of what happens when you have just guys or guys and women, um, I wouldn't describe our group as a safe space where you're not going to be criticized. Maybe that's another generational thing, but we rip and razz and zing each other, and that's part of the fun of getting together, is just one-upping and trying to get the laugh, and it's usually at the expense of somebody else. It's probably not everybody's cup of tea as far as humor, but I think you use the term geek a lot. You've probably heard it, a line about what's the difference between a geek and a nerd. And the answer is about $100,000 a year in salary. I've always considered myself a nerd. I'm not a geek. I'm not a tech person. Most of my friends are both geeks and nerds. They're into computers. They work in the computer field, but they're also nerds. Nerds to me are when I was growing up, I was into the monster movies and sci-fi. I was into comic books. I was into the first edition of Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. I was all the uncool things. Um, and so for me, it's sort of a defense mechanism I think I developed early, and I think most nerds back then, and probably geeks too, but I noticed nerds more. Geeks tend to be more introverted. Nerds can break out of that, and we get a bit more feisty as far as, you know, giving back and dishing back. It's like the bullying thing. I didn't know that it was bullying when it was happening to me. I was just being picked on, and there was reasons I was being picked on. I was a very large guy. Um, I was hypersensitive. That came out of, I think, a mixture of things about the way I was raised, about caring what people think, and being sensitive to other people, and the stuff that would now probably um, has gone too far. But back then it was just politeness. But I took it a little too far, maybe to the point of feminization, where it just, you know. And I realized one day that you got to just stop worrying about what people think and stop apologizing. You mentioned, uh, I think you mentioned Arnold and Stallone somewhere in there. For me, growing up, what was considered the icon of being a guy was John Wayne. People, nowadays, John Wayne's a joke. He's a one note. John Wayne encapsulated for kids my age and older what a guy was. And it hadn't have to do with sports, which I've never been into, and it wasn't cars, which I never have gotten at all. I didn't change my first tire until this last year. Finally crossed that off my bucket list. But it was about a code of honor, personal responsibility, a sense of duty. These were things that were about being a guy, not getting in touch with your inner child or your feminine side. And it wasn't looked down on because these were good traits that had helped, society develop to the point where we're at now. I mean, having a code of honor, the right code of honor, is a very important thing. Behaving a certain way and taking responsibility is an important thing. There's something about being able to get together with your friends, if they're all guys, and just being able to be brutally yourself, warts and all, to you say to feel safe and to, not judge each other. That's not where I'm at with my friends. We will lay the bullshit card down. We will call you on if we think you're full of crap, and we will, razz the hell out of you if you just are a moron about something. And it's good for you. It's refreshing. You get all the BS out of the way, and you get down to the basics, and you know that your friends are going to be honest with you, and your friends are going to tell you their opinion, and they're going to give it to you straight. And that's something I enjoy. And I enjoyed in gaming. I've played mostly AD&D my whole life. It's over 35 years now. I haven't played the last 2 years or so. That's another thing. Guys get married or start dating, and your groups wane and reassemble and wane. I've been lucky to play with the same group, but and that's fine. That's part of life. But it changes not only their lives, and it's usually for the positive, not in all cases for my friends, but usually for the positive. But there's trade-offs that we make, and we accept them. When you bring women into the group, I've only had that happen twice. Once worked fine. She was a girlfriend of somebody, and she didn't stay that long, but she was there because he was there, and I didn't think that it added much to the group, but she was a nice enough person. The other time was somebody who came in and wasn't initially the girlfriend of anybody in the group, but ended up one of our, I won't name names, but somebody had left their wife and ended up with this person, and I knew the dynamics had changed, because out of all the big mouths in our group, I'm the one that can zing. I see a target, it's almost irresistible to me. And the minute that this person happened to be the DM, just came at me for something I said, I knew it's almost a power shift had happened, that there was something going on between these two that was more than what had been going on in the game. And so I know what you mean about how it can affect the game and how, it changes things. And so I see nothing wrong with, if you're comfortable with your friends and you want to spend time with your friends and you want to hang out with your friends, that doesn't make you a hater. That doesn't make you a misogynist. It just means you want to spend time with the people that you want to spend time with, if that's exclusive. you're just cutting out everybody else in your life, and you tell your wife constantly, going out with the guys tonight. You ignore your kids, and you say, yeah, I got to spend time with my friends. That's not being a guy. That's being a jerk, and that's not being, a misogynist. That's being an idiot. And so, I guess the point I'm trying to make is that there comes a point when you have to stop apologizing for just being you and wanting to live your life and to enjoy the things that you want to do. You have to find the balance if you're involved with other people, if you have a wife or a girlfriend. Me, that's not a problem. I don't know why nobody has snatched up this wonderful, catch, but it's never really come up. And truthfully, I've always lived by the rule, the Groucho Marx rule. Groucho once said he would never belong to any club that would have him. I was pretty early age figured out I would never probably want to be with any woman who would want to be with me. So man caves are another thing I don't get. This is what I do. I live how I want to live. My apartment, my home has always been, the whole thing's mine. It's my cave. I didn't even hear man cave until, it was just my place, Never thought I needed a special name for it or anything. I became the media bunker when at my last apartment, 2 apartments ago, I was living in the basement of a duplex. And so then I became the media bunker when I had to change my email address once again. And since it was a bunker, and I am enamored with media, not the physical. I love content. I don't care what format the content is. Is it a book? Is it a movie? Is it content? But I love media, and I love it in all its sources. So that's where Media Bunker came from. But I've never had to consult with somebody about that, and so I it's easy for me to tell somebody, man up, but it's not man up. I would say the same thing to a woman. If a man was trying to control her, you have to be true to yourself first, or it doesn't matter. You're not gonna. It's gonna hurt your relationship with anybody, your friends, your significant other, your family members. If you're not being true to you, if you're not being who you are and seeking out the things that you need to be happy, you can't make other people happy. And so, I know this is kind of rambling. It's to me, the feminization issue is a broader thing. It's a side effect of a lot of political stuff that's going on, and it's a much more, I think of it as a much scarier thing on the macro scale, as far as how it's affecting our culture, how we're teaching boys that being a man, the traditional definition of man, provider, honor, having a code of honor, and these type of things are bad. They're aggressive. They're negative. They're misogynistic. They're whatever. But that's a whole different issue. As far as gaming, as far as friendship, your friends are your friends. You want to spend time with them. You should never have to apologize for that. You should never have to make excuses. You might have to compromise on the time schedule with a significant other to do it, and I know that's not often easy. One of my friends, I labeled his wife very early on after they were married, she who must be obeyed, because it was always, I'll check with my wife. Can we get together? I'll check with my wife. And that's their relationship, and it's an important one, and I find it amusing, not irritating. And it's been that way with all my friends as they've gone through their variations of relationships. Some, completely long-lasting, and some more flexible. You adapt to your personal life family life, you adapt to your personal life, friends, whatever, and you have to make it fit. But as far as how you live your life, what you do with your time, how you pursue your happiness, if you're not hurting others, if it truly makes you happy, which I believe makes you a better person and makes you able to be better to other people, don't apologize. Don't sweat it. Don't look for the current catchphrases. You don't need a safe space. You just need to be with friends. It's that simple, at least to me. But people tell me I'm a pretty simple person. So good luck. Sorry if this made no sense. You had so much, and I tried doing notes, but it just sort of, I was trying to count the pseudo apologies and the different topics that were jumping back and forth, and so if yours was a little rambly, mine is completely off the rails, and so but I'll be curious. I saw that Mr. Gloy responded. I hope others do, and I hope you find the balance that you're looking for. Take care. Thanks.